War does not begin with the first shot. It begins with ideas, with the minds that imagine what others believe impossible. In World War II, 6 commanders reshaped history, not by chance, but by vision. Some relied on speed, some on discipline, some on overwhelming force, and others on daring gambles that risked everything. Their decisions changed nations. Their strategies toppled empires. Their actions still echo through every military academy on Earth. Tonight we explore the masterminds of World War II, the men whose ideas decided the fate of millions. Chapter 1 begins. Chapter 1. Erich von Manstein, the mastermind of the Ardennes gamble. Erich von Manstein was not loud, not political, not charismatic, but his mind was a weapon, sharper than any blade. After the fall of Poland, the world expected a long, grinding stalemate in the West, a repeat of World War I. France relied on its monumental defensive line, the Maginot Line, stretching across its eastern frontier. The Allies believed Germany had only one realistic invasion path, through Belgium. But Manstein disagreed. In quiet rooms filled with maps and arguments, he studied the Ardennes forest, a place most generals considered unusable. The terrain was narrow, muddy, wooded, a maze of ridges and steep valleys. To Manstein, that wasn't a weakness. It was an opportunity. He crafted a plan no one else dared propose. Send the bulk of Germany's armored forces through the impassable forest. Strike where France felt invincible. Bypass decades of defense with a single unexpected blow. Inside German high command, tempers rose. Voices shouted. Generals dismissed the idea outright. But one man loved boldness, Hitler, and he approved the plan. What followed was one of the fastest collapses of a modern army in history. Within days, French defenses broke. The Maginot Line, decades in the making, became irrelevant. Manstein's vision reshaped the war before many even understood what happened. Chapter 2. Heinz Guderian, Forging Blitzkrieg. If Manstein crafted the idea, Heinz Guderian made it unstoppable. Restless, energetic, often impatient, Guderian believed tanks were not support tools. They were the spearhead of modern war. He imagined armored divisions punching deep into enemy territory, supported by fast infantry and precise air power. His motto became legendary: Nicht kleckern klotzen. Don't dribble, strike hard. Guderian insisted on radios in every tank, combined arms coordination, and a pace of attack no army had seen before. During the invasion of France, he defied orders to slow down. He pressed forward, hour after hour, kilometer after kilometer. German high command panicked. The enemy panicked more. At the Meuse River, under heavy fire, Guderian forced a crossing that cracked the Allied front wide open. From that moment, the race to the English Channel was unstoppable. The world witnessed Blitzkrieg not as a theory, but as a terrifying reality. A storm of steel and speed. Guderian had transformed the battlefield forever. Chapter 3. Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. Across the scorching sands of North Africa, another master was writing his own legend. Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. He arrived with fewer tanks, fewer troops, and almost no fuel. Yet he possessed something more powerful than equipment: instinct. The desert, with its endless dunes and deadly heat, became Rommel's chessboard. He struck at dawn. He attacked through sandstorms. He launched raids that vanished into the horizon before the enemy knew what hit them. Rommel often led from the front, standing on tank turrets under fire, binoculars in hand, directing battles with an almost supernatural sense of timing. British soldiers feared him. British generals respected him. Even Churchill admired him. But boldness has a price. Rommel's greatest enemy was not the British, but logistics. The farther he advanced, the thinner the supplies stretched. Fuel, ammunition, spare parts, the desert devoured everything. Despite brilliant tactics, the weight of supply lines and overwhelming Allied numbers eventually pushed him back. Still, Rommel's mastery of maneuver remains a chapter studied to this day. Chapter 4. Georgy Zhukov, the Iron Defender. While the Axis advanced across continents, the Soviet Union turned to one man when the situation became desperate: Georgy Zhukov. In the winter of 1941, German forces reached the outskirts of Moscow. Panic spread across the city. Government offices burned documents. Civilians prepared to flee. Stalin called one man Zhukov. He arrived with icy determination. Within days, he reorganized entire armies, stabilized collapsing sectors, and deployed fresh Siberian troops who had trained in brutal winters. Then he struck. Zhukov's counterattack around Moscow was the first major defeat for the Wehrmacht. But he wasn't finished. He coordinated the encirclement at Stalingrad, the largest tank battle in history at Kursk, and ultimately the Soviet drive all the way to Berlin. Where Manstein used finesse, Zhukov used force. Raw, overwhelming, relentless force. He wasn't subtle. He wasn't gentle, but he was effective, brutally effective. His leadership symbolized the unstoppable weight of the Soviet war machine. Chapter 5. Bernard Montgomery, the general who refused to rush. On the other side of the desert, Britain relied on a man with a completely different philosophy. Bernard Montgomery, calm, methodical, unwavering. Montgomery refused to attack unless the odds were in his favor. His soldiers needed rest, clear logistics, and overwhelming firepower. Many criticized him for moving too slowly, but Montgomery wasn't chasing glory. He was chasing victory without unnecessary sacrifice. When he arrived in North Africa, British forces were exhausted and demoralized. Rommel seemed unstoppable. Montgomery reorganized everything: command structures, supply lines, morale. He prepared for one decisive operation, El Alamein. When he finally attacked, it wasn't with speed or surprise, but with crushing power. Artillery, infantry, armor, all moving in disciplined waves. It worked. El Alamein broke Axis momentum in the desert and marked a turning point in the war. Montgomery's style proved that careful planning could be just as deadly as blitzing across battlefields. Chapter 6. Isoroku Yamamoto, the gambler of the Pacific. While Europe fought over fields and deserts, the war in the Pacific became a contest of oceans. And one man understood this better than anyone else: Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto. Yamamoto was unique. He had studied in the United States. He knew its culture, its industry, its potential. And that knowledge frightened him. He believed Japan could not win a long war against America. The only hope was to strike first, and strike hard. Thus came the plan for Pearl Harbor, a preemptive blow powerful enough to disable the U.S. Pacific Fleet and force America into hesitation. On December 7th, 1941, the world changed in a single morning. Battleships burned, harbors filled with black smoke, and Japan believed it had gained the upper hand. But Yamamoto himself understood the deeper truth. I fear all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant. His warning came true. America mobilized. The war escalated. And in 1943, after U.S. intelligence intercepted his flight path, Yamamoto's plane was shot down. The Pacific lost its greatest strategist, one who understood both the power of boldness and the cost of miscalculation. War is fought with weapons, but won with minds. Manstein's audacity, Guderian's speed, Rommel's instinct, Zhukov's iron will, Montgomery's discipline, Yamamoto's daring gamble. Different styles, different nations, different philosophies. Yet each commander reshaped the world in ways still felt today. Their strategies are studied, their battles are remembered, their decisions echo across history.